Okay, here we are, Tough Talks again. We continue on this thing. Yuri's here, Wiki's here, and as I told Wiki before we started the conversation, I've been to dentist and I was lying and like watching on top and thinking like what we will talk about, and
Yes,
then
yes.
and then it's always about like we always talk about something that people do not usually talk about a lot or even at all, and I was thinking about there are so many things going on the
Yeah.
background. There is war in Ukraine, war in Israel, many other shitty things going on.
Yep.
And it's always in our minds. We just can't block it. And from the other side, we are working with people, we are talking to people, we are leading people at some point. And I was thinking, like, always part of my mind, always part of my brain is bothered with these things that going on. And I don't even know if I can feel safe at all. And being in this state of unsafety, it definitely impacts your work. It definitely impacts your conversation with other people. And I was like, how the hell to be sane having all this shit is going on? Because the moment I read news, I'm like, no way I can do anything. Like if I'm starting my day with news,
Oh,
day is
forget it.
off.
Yeah,
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 forget
forget
about.
it.
So I was thinking about this stuff and like how do we deal with this? Vicky, what do you think?
Nothing like a broad opener, Yuri. Um, yeah, I think that I'm going to toss the baton back to you so that you can clarify a bit more about what's on your mind as best you can, with what you can say, and allow people to fill in the blanks.
As best as you can. Yeah. As best as I can that this war in Ukraine is keep going on, and it's not a secret that people are dying.
Right.
And it's not a secret that nothing stopped. It's been almost 2 years so far, and it's keep going on. And I feel like there is a point of no return.
Okay.
At some point, if you in the conflict, like I'm not talking about the war, like in personal conflict, yes.
Sure.
So I have conflicts with my wife. I hope
Sure.
everyone has conflicts because otherwise you are robots.
You're not learning. Right.
Yeah. So there is a point of no. At some point, I'm thinking like maybe I should stop. Maybe I should go hug her. Maybe I should
Oh,
tell some nice words.
right.
And at some point, I hear another word and like, no way, I'm stopping.
In your head. Yeah.
So the same going on in everywhere. Like if we're talking about wars, there is a point of no return. I feel like we crossed the point of no return. I have no idea when it happens, when it stops. And I don't even know if I can feel safe at all anywhere, being a citizen of Ukraine and knowing that this shit is going on in the country I was born and I live. And yeah. So even though I'm trying not to think about that, it's always there. The
Of course.
moment I read news, it's always there. And it's always with me. And I'm trying to separate, there is this movie, like it's Netflix series or whatever, called Severance, where person go to work and then they go in via elevator and then they forget in their like human part, they are becoming like working robots, and then they coming back from work going to via elevator, they forgetting what they've done at their workspace. And the
Yep.
fun thing that human at home wants to know what the human at work is doing, and the
Yeah.
person at work wants to know what the human at home.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
can't go through this procedure. I can't separate myself. So it's always there. And I'm still struggling with how to deal with it, because somebody told me that you can't help others to feel safe if you are feeling unsafe. Like you can't fill others' glasses if your glass is empty or
Right.
half full or
Right.
whatever. And I'm thinking like, how the hell? How can I fill my glass? How can I ensure that it's not empty, it's not half full, it's not like broken glass?
Yeah.
And I still can't do this.
Well, let me ask you this. Have you ever felt safe before?
Yes,
And what was happening that had you feel safe? Like what
nothing
was
bad,
going on?
nothing bad. Like uh,
Be
some
specific.
some people might think that the war in Ukraine started like recently in 2022, but
Mm,
it started in 2014 or even earlier.
urban
Like
earlier.
it
Yeah.
was more than decades of war already. Like it was just frozen, kind of
Yeah.
frozen. But there are still people that are still, shooting over borders and etc. and crazy things going on. And the moment I understood that, you know, I kind of have my duty to go and kill others,
Hmm.
I'm like, what if I don't want to do that? Like,
What if?
do I have any choice? And like, nope, you're not. And since that time, I'm like, what is somebody's life if you can't choose whether you want to live or die?
And there it is. He's dropped the mic. I think I'm just going to also note that you didn't answer the question, but we'll go back to it. But nice try. Um, I don't think that I am jaded. I also don't think I'm cynical, but I am very much a realistic Capricorn. So I just feel like that has to be prefaced. Um, my faith in big government, big business. Okay. So, right, like monopolies, light dictatorships, which is like all over, all around us, even if it goes by a different name. Big pharmaceutical, in the US, these big conglomerate monopolizing taketh over. No, I don't think they care. And I think the value of a human life is negligible from that perspective. And um, I think it's also important that I share my degree is in government and politics and international development and conflict management. So like I know pretty deeply about long term conflict around the world and the powers that be that choose to maintain it because, well, war and conflict is profitable for those at the top. That's objective truth, regardless of how you feel about it. So with that being said, I think that we as a people, a global people around the world, we're definitely in some shit. Like we're definitely in right, like some significant shift is occurring right now where it really feels like on a physical earthly level, the unexpected tsunamis and earthquakes and volcanic eruptions that are happening at times and in places that they didn't anticipate for however long. A variety of solar flares are happening that people don't even recognize is going on, and any one of them could hit something, a near earth object, right? We could be wiped out. Like there's a lot going on. That is oddly timed,
Where is
unexpected.
Bruce Willis? We need you.
Right. Like he's just got to, or not Tom Cruise, not my favorite. But, and then also human to human relationships are ending, divorces are happening, friendships are ending in larger percentages, obviously, than ever before because they weren't allowed, but regardless. So something is happening with society. And I almost liken it to a phoenix that has to burn and then rise from the ashes. And I do very much feel like we are so in the burn. Like just because COVID's over doesn't mean the burn is complete. In the US, we have a very inflammatory election period coming up. We're funding quite a few wars, let's be honest. Okay. We have no idea how to handle immigration over here, obviously. Um, there's 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 a thousand things that I think people are becoming more aware of for the first time en masse than actually ever before. Because someone was telling me, I'd love to give credit to whoever this was, and you know who you are because I don't remember who you are, but they essentially said to me, with evolutionary biology, we as humans are actually not mentally, emotionally, spiritually, or physiologically equipped to handle intercontinental, cross-cultural, global catastrophe. We are driven to care about, to attend to understand, to empathize with the local, right? Around us. And as we've become a more globalized society, where you and I are talking right now via Zoom, and we're across the world from each other, physically and how we were raised, it does go against our natural tendency. And so with that understanding, it's not shocking that we would be incapable of, like, I'm going to say it, incapable of caring for so much as though it was our plight, as though that were our child, as though that were out, because we are so disconnected from even our own bodies, let alone what's going. I am completely disconnected from what's going on in the Ukraine, except for my connection to you. You are what makes that real for me, right? My boyfriend is what makes the Balkan Wars real for me and what actually happened.
Exactly.
Without what we're doing, how can I expect you to give a fuck? And that's where so when you started this conversation about we're burdened with all of the have-tos and shoulds about caring, about layoffs of everyone else, about the border crisis, about wars, about how am I supposed to keep my head above water? So what have you found works, or what have you found doesn't work for you specifically to keep your head above water with all that you're holding on to?
At some point, when we started community life conversations and other podcasts and between the water and whatever, any conversation with people worldwide that I had, they were always like, "Oh my God, you read so much things going on in your country, in your world. Like, how can you be so positive and smile?"
Right.
And then I was like, there are just two ways of talking about it, like you smiling or crying, and smile makes everything better. So like you will always like, and I feel like this song was on repeat, and it feels like the song is top one on my Spotify for 2023. That's a fun thing that I don't remember its name. But I totally remember that there is this part that I make it feel easy, that you will think that I made it overnight. And it's Eminem, it's Skylar Grey, and
okay.
So I make it look easy, like I made it overnight, but you won't see everything behind the idea there. I'm a shitty singer, whatever. So, and I have this approach, like, why should anyone care about what's going on my background? Like, can they help? Most likely not.
Right.
Will they feel bad? Most likely, yes. Will they feel guilty if I will talk about this? Most likely, yes, for the moment of the conversation. Later, most likely not. But anyway, I don't want to bring this burden to others. And the only one thing that helps me is like, I'm always trying to find like positive in negativity, and understand, like, seeing another side, because there is this saying, I don't remember, somebody I wrote this, Some people are like bees, and some other like flies. So flies can basically see everything, even shit, and bees like they see only flower. It's exaggeration.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
but once again, like I still see shit. Yeah, I feel shit, but I'm trying to kind of avoid it as much as possible and
Yeah.
not to focus on it. But still, it's somewhere. It's like if we are talking about a computer, there are so many processes runs on a background, and at some point, one process can take all the memory, and your computer will shut down. So it's one of those processes. It keeps running on the background, and I don't want it to shut down me. So
I know. And it does. It's called compassion fatigue. It does shut people down, and people are getting shut down in droves. And maybe there's, a very direct correlation between burnout, mental health diagnoses, and simply being completely fatigued by all that is going on in the world. And the world says you have to care about this so much so that you donate money, donate things, donate your time, energy, and effort, and away from your own local. So, like, I'm going to go back to my original question and I'm going to clarify more. What makes you feel safe? So, safety is, in my opinion, subjective. So, is it you feel seen and heard? Is it there's locks on your door? It could be anything. What do you think?
yes, my perspective. Sorry. From my perspective, safety is when me, my family, my dogs can go outside of the home and come back and be on the street, be on the in any other place with other people, be at home, and 99% sure that we won't die.
Yeah.
Or nobody will harm us,
Yeah.
or rocket won't fly anywhere,
Yeah.
or you
No
won't be shot
sirens.
by any crazy person out there.
Yep.
And just like let us live. Let us live and do what we do. there are there are so many things, like I once again, the song "Dumb Ways to Die." There are so many dumb ways to die,
Yeah.
and like enough.
Yeah.
Don't create new.
No.
So, and I I don't even know. I don't even know what those people think who like, okay, I will go and kill people. I will go and like,
Well,
I don't
well,
know. I don't know what's going on in the brain of the person who like, push the button and send rockets to
but
skulls.
Yuri, okay, because either you've seen movies or this, that at some level there has to be some light brainwashing that goes on, which is why we take whether it be mandatory conscription or whatever it be, and we move into these places where you get trained, and that the training is mostly psychological to start, to get everybody right. I refuse to believe, I'm going to go all the way here. I refuse to believe that every single Nazi during the Holocaust totally believed what was being told from the top. I cannot believe every single one. What I do believe is that people are given two impossible options by, again, the big powers that be, that said either you and your whole family dies or you're going to do this thing. Your call. I've never been in that situation. I have no idea what that could possibly, I can't even fucking fathom. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, you know what I'm saying. So I don't think it's a matter of they're thinking, oh, I can do this. They're thinking, I have to survive. So I don't know any other thing.
Yeah.
And
So once again,
yeah.
it's like this dead end of making choices. And let's be honest, some people
Okay.
don't
Shoot.
yeah, exactly. Some people don't even know that they can choose. If you are given two variants, sometimes people don't know there are other variants,
Others. Yes.
because like
Yes.
I've been given two, I have to choose. That's how the marketing and sales psychology works. If you tell somebody like, would you like to buy this one or this one? You're not
Right.
thinking about not buying anything. You're
Right.
thinking like what to choose. So
Yes.
basically same here. But once again, it's still with me, and I, from time to time, I have this conversation with my wife. Like, can you imagine how our brains changed? Will we ever feel safe? Like, what exactly what you're asking? What is safety?
What is safety?
Yeah.
And what is
So
it to her? Is it the same as yours? Who knows?
at least as far as I know, it's somewhere close,
It's on the
But
list. Sure. What
once
you said is
again,
on her list. Yeah.
yeah, everyone has their own lists.
Exactly. Exactly. That's my point in asking you that question, because there isn't, oh, this is what safety is. This is what psychological safety is. This is what physical safety is. This is what emotional safety is. It is completely and utterly something that you need to discover for yourself as an autonomous human being. So, how about whoever's listening, we do an exercise, right? Of how do, not how, what has to be happening that has me feeling safe? How
Hmm.
can I get to that place when I'm feeling unsafe? What choices do I have? This is like, this is my main thing when I'm coaching clients, is around choice. It's
Hmm.
actually, we don't only live in this uh, uh, dual world. There's more than black and white. There's more than Republican and Democrat. There's more than this or that. There's also a slew of other things that you just haven't cleaned your glasses off to. So if we start taking the time and, stop being lazy, okay, and taking the convenient way out of, oh, I saw on Pinterest this infographic of 10 ways to feel safe. That's definitely me. I feel safe that way. I'm not shitting on those people. You got to start somewhere, but inevitably you get to owning who you are and how you show up in the world. So, like, in my opinion, this conversation can go on for time, right? Like, we can go forever because there is no answer. And Yurii, will you always have a little bit of that back there? Yes, because to be quite honest, you were born and raised in a conflictual place over the course of history that predated you. Like, that's in your DNA if you believe in generational trauma. That, you know, I'm not even going to say I'm sorry, because that is what that is. And you know how to manage it because you've been managing it. Because I'm sure at one point it took up 90% of your brain, and now maybe it takes up 20%. So you are improving, but I don't think it'll ever go away. But here's my thoughts is, like, so what now? What do I do about it? Oh no, Viki's just like, we're going to have it for life. That sucks, right? No, I think it's these things. One is honest, seriously honest conversations like the ones you and I have, where I may preface and say, look, maybe I'm ignorant and I don't know nothing about nothing, but I'm going to ask you something that I'm a little nervous to ask you, because I don't know if I'm being racist by accident. I don't know if I'm going to be fucking honest, because we have completely lost that. No one's asking anybody anything about anything because we're all terrified of stepping on the wrong landmine of offense or trigger or activation or whatever. Look, if you get triggered, that's learning for you. If you need me to apologize, you need to let me know. I'm not going to automatically apologize anymore. That's not the world I'm living in. So, with that being said, getting into honest, vulnerable conversation where it's okay for you to say, I don't know. And I guess that's something for me to find out. The second thing is remembering or trying to get back to the local. So that can have myriad definitions, right? It could be vote locally and not only for the big national election type things. It could be, vote for the board of education people. It could be holding space the way that you do, Yurii, where you have, between two water cooler conversations, or like you have these conversations like this in a variety of your podcasts. That's holding space. You are providing the opportunity for people to show up, be themselves, and be honest and authentic, and see who they are. And that is back to the tribal communal aspect we as humans have gotten very, very far from. So it could look like that. And then if all else fails, just remember what's in your control. Like, you are not going to change the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, right? But what can you change? The way maybe Americans view the conflict because we're having conversation, that's in your control.
I'm not an Iron Man, but
really?
Yeah. I have some costume somewhere in the closet, but not yet. Not now. Not now.
Fine.
Yeah. So I'm, about conversations. I feel like it's one of the hardest part. And it's time consuming part. Can you imagine like how much time do you have to like use, and how many questions do you have to ask?
Yeah.
And you have to have this courage to be disliked.
Yeah.
Is it even possible? Like in our LinkedIn and social media driven world?
Fraudulence.
Yeah. Can you even say what you think? Can you even do a post of your thoughts without understanding that people will think that you are crazy and like whatever? It's also a question.
It's an excellent question.
To anyone. And there will be no answer, And I'm reading this book currently. Why I use this phrase, courage to be disliked, because there is a book that
coaching term. I know that was very coach of you.
Exactly. And what I found, it's like stuck in my mind that every person has their own tasks.
Yep.
And showing up, it's your task. But what other people think about you, it's their tasks. And you can't do their tasks. No matter how hard you try, no matter how you want them to think about you, they will think what they think, not what you tell them to think.
Correct.
But from the other point, like, how can I not think about what others think about me?
Okay, but Yurii, I don't think the point is for you to have that thought disappear for life and you've made it and you're reaching nirvana. It's okay, I'm seeing that I am caring a lot about what this person thinks. That's really interesting. I wonder why that is. Oh, I guess the way that they show up, honest, courageous, vulnerable, is what I wished for myself. I wish that I could show up that way. Oh, that's interesting. Like, not good, bad, wrong, right, just, that's surprising, because the way toward self-management, the way toward emotional regulation, the way toward fucking nirvana, in my opinion, is just that, observing yourself and saying, okay, Vic, you got a little way to go there. That's interesting. There's nothing more to it than that. And what I also want to say about that is acceptance versus belonging, because you're absolutely right. How you're perceived is not up to you. You can dress the best, change how you talk, everything. I mean, if you've ever seen Bad Blood, or if you follow the story of Theranos, which if you don't, you should. But basically, long story short, it was a startup in Silicon Valley, and this young woman told the world that she created a way for like blood to be extracted in a super simple way, super quick, easy, so that people could not suffer from some malady that they had. I don't exactly remember what it was she did because it was a farce, obviously, but she was able to procure high level people into believing her. And she changed the tenor of her voice. She changed what she wore, how she walked, what she did. She was a fraud. So, yes, it's possible. You certainly can. You certainly can choose into how people perceive you. But the amount of work that it takes to be a fraud and remember all the lies it's insurmountable. It's insurmountable. And all she wanted was to be accepted.
Yeah.
She wanted to be accepted. And that's the difference. You, Yurii, I feel very, very viscerally that you are a person that believes in your core that you belong in this world, that you belong as a community leader, that you belong as a standout father, as a standout husband. You belong wherever, whatever, slice. So what you are not is seeking acceptance. You're not waiting for someone to say, Yurii, you're a great husband. I thought so, but just so you know, you are.
Someone, not just one, but like anyone.
Right. Just anyone, right? Yeah. And that's the difference I feel, especially on like what can be perceived as the fraudulence in LinkedIn or any social media or wherever, right? Like we are not saying blanket everybody's being a fraud. I'm just saying it's very go along to get along, so it's easier. But when you just say, I belong here, and you don't worry about being accepted, I believe it just becomes a little easier. I don't think like it goes away ever, because we're human and we want connection. But if I know I belong, then people will attract toward me, as opposed to me going and pulling them in. Do you feel
trust?
me?
They trust.
Yeah.
Build it and they will come. Yeah.
Yes, though. And build it and they will come, but only if and when you have tapped into what gives you life. Like, it's very evident that what gives you life, Yurii, is authentic connection with people. And so that's why you have 1,000 podcasts and 1,000 ways for people to consistently connect with you. It gives you energy. You don't stop. And so the people don't stop. You probably have a wait list, right? Because you've tapped into what gives you life. And that could be anything for anyone. It could be fucking knitting. And then suddenly people are like, I really love the way you taught that. Can you create a club? And then that person's making money off it or whatever. It can be simple. I never said it was easy, but it can be simple.
I also feel like that's what we started with, how to feel safe and how to deal with it. It's also up to me to choose how I feel. Yeah. It's so hard.
Because it's an everyday choice. It's not like today you're going to say, I feel like this, Vic. And that's it. Tomorrow you're going to have the same thought. And then again.
And you always have a choice to do any actions. And you have to take a courage to go through those actions. And you have to be responsible for consequences. And you have to, God damn it. Get away from me. Why do I have to do everything?
Right. I just want to be in a blanket in the corner by myself for a week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Similar to having COVID, basically you do the same and watch Netflix.
Fine. Get a good book, call it a day. But that's also another great point, is that we're also living in this world of instantaneousness and constancy, where how about if you don't hear back from the email you sent me, if I don't reply for a week, you're good. Like, I will get back to you. A week is a shocking amount of time, right? Or, oh God, I didn't post today on something, so I'm going to become irrelevant. But you don't become irrelevant if you feel that you belong. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Can you even imagine I have some messages on LinkedIn that I didn't answer for whole months?
I don't believe that. I actually can't believe that of you.
And just because I want to give a thoughtful answer, So,
Yeah, and
and
that
that's
takes
why
time.
I keep postponing it. It's
And
crazy.
that's okay. Like that's so okay. So, yeah, I guess at the end of the day, what I'm curious, what is taking away at this point from the start of this conversation to right now? What's different for you, or what's solidified, or what are you thinking about now? That's possible.
Yeah, exactly. You have to choose your way, and you can choose your way. You have to impact your life. You can impact your life.
Mm,
You have to be your honest self, facing challenges,
yeah,
not trying to run away from them,
yeah.
because you will always have challenges. That's
Hmm.
exactly how you learn, and that's exactly how you move forward. And shit, it's so hard. It's still hard. And I feel like the first step is to accept that, yes, it's hard. Whatever, I'll do it.
Bingo. There it is, my friend.
Yeah.
Acknowledgement as the first step truly does make the next set of steps more seamless. Again, no one's saying easy, but at least you can slide down with an oiled slide instead of a bumpy ride.
Oiled bumpy slide.
Fine. Fine. At
It
least, at
depends.
least, at least you're not getting bruised the whole way down. But
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. We getting somewhere.
I know
Yes.
that's right.
Every time. Yeah,
Every
Viki.
time.
Every time. We start from somewhere, we get in somewhere. We're moving. We're not standing. I hope people are moving with us. I
Yeah, I
hope
hope
I
this little
I
dynamic.
I hope people have also have their thoughts, and I hope they will share with us.
We would
And I hope
love
we
to
will
know them.
join the conversation at some point
Please. Yes.
and shift their mind a little bit and make the world a better place.
Hey, I don't know. Just tossing it out there. The world is
We'll
our
see.
oyster.
That's how Tough Talks works. So
Yeah,
thank you, Weekend. Have an
always, my
amazing
friend.
day and talk to you always.
Always.